All right, we could have a lot of candidates in the Republican side vying to challenge Joe Biden, assuming he is the Democratic nominee for president 2 years from now. But probably the most scrutinized is the battle between Donald Trump right now and the as yet unannounced presidential candidate, Florida Governor Ron DeSantis. And it could be a big money race because both gentlemen are very good at raising money. My next gentleman is a key player there. Don Tapia is our former ambassador to Jamaica, played that role in the Trump administration, but he has switched, if you will, from Don to Ron. As in Ron DeSantis, he is backing the Florida governor's presidential ambitions, if they do pan out. Very good to have you, Ambassador. Why? Why Governor DeSantis?
Well, the thing is, I think it's time now for us to start taking a look at the future. You know, at my age and so forth, I've been through a lot of presidents. Donald Trump was the right president at the right time. His policies are all American, and I truly believe that. But at the same time, you must act in a manner of being a presidential candidate on the international stage and the national stage. I have found that I personally find, along with a lot of my friends that are willing to put up money, is the fact is that you don't start become an attack dog against somebody that has not even announced that he's running for president. Governor DeSantis has been at my home twice, and of course, every time that he's here, the question always comes up: Are you going to run for president? He's always avoided that question because the fact is, he says, "I am running for governor." And the money that we're raising today and the people that are here are supporting me for governor. I supported him for governor. And the thing is today is that he has not announced. The question is, will I support him if in fact he does announce? And that has not taken place. So I think we're premature in saying that I've already switched to DeSantis. I can't switch to somebody that's not in the race.
But you have any doubt that he would join the race?
At this stage, I don't believe I have any doubts that he's going to jump in, because I think the main thing that I look at is the more time that people attack you, the more you get the feathers or the back of the hair on the back of your neck that says, well, I'll jump in here and we'll get into this race. I'm with you. I believe that he will join the race.
That he won't. So let me ask you about that. I mean, obviously, you were Donald Trump's ambassador to Jamaica. Did you bounce it off the former president? Did you feel a need to, or just say, I really enjoyed working with you, Mr. President. I enjoyed a lot of your policies, but I'm going to this guy?
No, sir. I have not talked to President Trump. He was here a few months back, and I didn't get I met with him, but did not. And it was a very short meeting. You know, it was more like a meet to greet type thing. So I never had that opportunity.
You seemed to intimate before, Ambassador, about Donald Trump's criticism of as an as yet unannounced candidate in Ron DeSantis. But I was thinking to myself that is kind of the modus operandi, the way Donald Trump operates, and what he has done throughout the 4 years, or you were in the administration, or that term, and it works for him. It works, you know, back in 2016, and he would argue it was effective in how he ran the government and all of that. What do you think of that?
Well, 2016 is entirely, you know, we're in 2024, and we've had an opportunity to see his policies and so forth, and I'm a firm, strong supporter of his policies. But it gets to the point that you don't like attack dogs, and what I say is that he attacks people. There's no reason to attack people. He's a president of the United. He was a president of the United States. The president of the United States should act presidential. You don't have to attack. Stay on point. Stay on what you've done. Stay on your policy. Stay on what you have done internationally and nationally. That's the thing that I think we're all concerned about. We don't need name calling and so forth. And I go back to the point of Ronald Reagan when he says, you know, the 11th commandment: don't attack another Republican. Yeah. Stay on point. Tell us what you're going to do. Tell us what you have the future of America.
Got it. We'll see what happens. Ambassador, very good seeing you. Don Tapia, the former U.S. ambassador to Jamaica under President Trump, but setting his sights on if the Florida governor wants to run for president.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.